Today, we're going to talk about something that's quietly shaping your world every single day. It's this powerful, pretty much invisible force that influences what you see, what you believe, and even what you desire. We're calling it a system of personalized propaganda.
So let me just start with a simple question for you. When you're scrolling through your feeds, who do you think is actually calling the shots? Who's picking the exact content that pops up on your screen? The real answer? Well, it's a lot more complicated, and honestly, a lot more concerning than you might think.
Okay, so let's put a name to it. The personalized propaganda machine. Here's how it works. Every single thing you do online, every click, every like, even how long you pause on a video, it all leaves behind this digital trail. Some call it your data exhaust. And this machine just inhales all of that information to build this super detailed profile of you. And then it uses that profile to build a reality curated just for you.
What you end up with is something called a filter bubble. You're basically isolated in your own little information world, tailored to you. But this isn't just about showing you more cat videos because you like cats. It's about designing a world with one goal in mind, keeping your attention locked, and, at the end of the day, swaying your decisions, usually without you having any idea it's happening.
And look, this isn't some sci-fi theory. The whole Cambridge Analytica scandal was a massive wake-up call. They took data from tens of millions of people and used it to hit them with hyper-targeted political ads. And their stated goal? To play on what they literally called people's inner demons, their deepest fears, their anxieties, all to influence an election. It's a perfect and pretty scary example of how personal data gets weaponized.
All right, so that leads us right into our first section, how it hacks you. Let's really dig into how this machine is reshaping your reality.
The tech critic Jaron Lanier really just lays it out there. He says the whole business model is surveillance. It watches you, it learns about you, and then it auctions off that knowledge of you to the highest bidder. So the content you see, it's not random, and it's definitely not neutral. It's been selected to get you to do something, buy a product, believe an idea, or just keep clicking. And this creates a huge conflict, right, between our real, authentic human needs and what the machine pushes on us. You know, we crave genuine connection. We want to grow as people. But the algorithm, it amplifies what the philosopher Herbert Marcuse once called false needs. Why? Because they're better for business. Outrage gets way more clicks than thoughtful discussion. Vanity and endless comparison keep you scrolling way longer than humility does.
And this really is the greatest harm of all. The slow, steady erosion of our autonomy, our ability to just think for ourselves. This system is a master of manipulation because it's so subtle. It nudges our thoughts and our behaviors, all while giving us the feeling that we're the ones in the driver's seat. It really makes you ask, how free is your choice really when an algorithm has already written the script?
This isn't just a philosophical problem, it has real, tangible costs. So in this next section, we're going to look at the psychological toll, the hidden costs to your well-being.
It's such a wild paradox. These platforms are supposedly designed to connect us, but they can end up making us feel totally alone. The data is pretty stark. One big study found that young adults who use social media the most are literally twice as likely to say they feel socially isolated. It's like the machine gives us this illusion of connection that pushes out the real thing.
And it's not just about what we think, it's about what we feel. In a pretty controversial experiment, Facebook secretly tweaked what users saw in their feeds. They made some feeds more positive and some more negative. And guess what? It worked. They proved they could create what they called massive-scale emotional contagion. They could make hundreds of thousands of people feel happier or sadder without anyone's consent or knowledge.
But here's the other side of that coin, and honestly, it gives me a lot of hope. A huge experiment found that when people deactivated their social media accounts for just a few weeks, their well-being improved by an amount that was equivalent to about 15 to 22% of the benefit you'd get from going to therapy. Just let that sink in. Just stepping back has a real, measurable, therapeutic effect.
And that hopeful idea is the perfect pivot point. That brings us to Section 3, starving the machine. Because your attention, that's the off switch.
Okay, so this is probably the single most important takeaway here. This machine, it is not invincible. It might feel all-powerful, but it is 100% dependent on us. Without our participation, without our data, without our attention, that whole massive engine just grinds to a halt.
You know, as Jaron Lanier puts it, every single moment we spend scrolling is a moment monetized. Every time we click, we are feeding the very machine that starves us of true fulfillment. We're essentially the product. Our attention is what's being sold.
But the second we decide to pull that attention back, we take back all the power.
So how do we actually do that? Let's get into the practical stuff. This is your toolkit for autonomy, for reclaiming your feed, and more importantly, your focus.
All right, here are 5 concrete strategies. First, think of it as digital dieting. Just be more mindful about how much you consume. Second, actively work to reclaim your feed. Third, and this one is so important, invest in real, actual, face-to-face human connection. Fourth, build up your media literacy. Become a skeptic, an active questioner, not just a passive consumer. And finally, support the bigger picture, structural changes that demand more transparency and humane design from these companies.
Okay, let's drill down on reclaiming your feed, because these are things you can do like right now. Whenever you can, switch your feed to chronological. That puts you in charge of the timeline, not the algorithm. Do a regular purge. Unfollow accounts that just consistently make you feel angry or bad about yourself. Dive into your privacy settings and limit data collection and ad personalization. And install tracker blockers on your web browser. Every single one of these actions denies the machine the fuel it needs to manipulate you.
So we're going to leave you with this final thought. This isn't about throwing your phone in the ocean and becoming a Luddite. It's about being intentional. It's about taking back our time, our focus, our reality. So really think about it. If you unplug the machine, even just for a little while every day, what would you reconnect with? What authentic parts of your life are just waiting for you to look up?